Okay. All right. It does appear that everything's working. Seems to be anyway. Well, everybody, let me get everything set up here. I believe we're ready to go here. There we go. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Justang Show. If you're new here, please like and subscribe, as I will be on here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we'll try to do some gaming content in between, depending on my health. Okay, so we've obviously got a lot of stuff going on, and right now it looks like things are turning around as far as our country and our stance on Israel, which I think it's been the stance of the American people for a while. But and I do believe, and I'm not afraid to say now, that I believe the majority of Americans see Israel as a parasitic entity. And now that a lot of Americans have been or become aware of this Talmudic nonsense and this Jewish supremacy, I believe that our feelings right now are very detrimental in that direction. Now, with that being said, I think that it's a positive sign that we still have some sovereignty, that President Trump has made this decision and made this deal with Iran that I don't know the details of. From what I've seen, it seems pretty terrible, but and I do believe that the American people are unknowingly, not, I don't think we're being told the true scale of what this war costed, is what I'm saying. And I've said numerous times that the downed pilot incident, I believe 100% was a failed special operations mission to steal the enriched uranium. And, I believe that we probably ended up losing thousands of American lives. But here's the thing. Like I said, I think that this is good. And now, we had the article come out in the Miriam Adelson owned Jewish newspaper saying President Trump could have been the greatest president, but he's failed. And, they're slamming him in Israel. And J.D. Vance came out yesterday and said, you know what? If if I were you, I'd be careful about how I talked about the only country left that has any sympathy towards Israel, and that's correct. Um, this is and of course, dear God. But anyway, I do have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today, and the first is one of the larger events, I believe, on the scale of large eventfulness. But the attack in Moscow, carried out by Ukraine, ended up being a major attack on a um, oil refinery. Got some footage here. This has been the one that's been seen over and over of the top of this. And boom. So we've got this attack by Ukraine in Moscow, doing some pretty massive damage. And Asmongold, a boy Asmongold, had some things to say about it. It's one of the only times that I've disagreed with him, and I'm going to show you why.
This is in Moscow.
Here,
oh my God! Look at wow. Jesus.
Yeah, and I think that this is
look at all
going to warrant a response from Russia.
Oh my God!
And I don't know if this will be it, but
They're
I
just
do
bombing
believe
the shit
that
out of them.
there will be a nuclear exchange at some
this
point.
this is my opinion. I think it's
Russia
really sad that
Ukraine
innocent
or
Russians are going to get killed or have their lives disrupted or ruined by these attacks. But as I said before, I mean, Ukraine was attacked by Russia. They were invaded by Russia. Russia is the aggressor. If anybody else is the aggressor, it is the NATO, collaborative powers powers and not
Yes.
necessarily Ukraine. So even if you want to blame it on like U.S. imperialism, the one thing you really, I don't think, can blame it on is fucking Russia, or sorry, is Ukraine. So NATO forced Russia. NATO made Russia.
You know what? I wonder
invade Kiev.
what religion Vladimir Zelensky is. Oh.
Right. Yeah,
Look what
I'm
time
sure
it
that's really
is.
what's helping them.
It's every
So
single.
Russia's attacking Kiev for 4 years straight. They are. They've been attacking Kiev for 4 years. And so really, I mean, I think it's sad to see this happen to, a lot of the Russians that are there, but that's it. NATO 100% forced Russia? No, Russia did not need to invade and bomb and kill people in Kiev. I can guarantee you that Russia would probably be in a better spot right now if they didn't invade Ukraine. If they and this, it's not even stopping NATO really. Like, it's just making everything worse. It's making Russia look bad. It's killing thousands of their people. It's wasting billions of dollars. Like, they've lost on every front. They've lost internationally. They've lost millions. I don't know about millions, but like billions of their own money. They've had multiple sanctions. They've lost two massive key allies with Venezuela and Iran. On top of that, they're not really even winning in Ukraine. I think that everybody I think expected Russia to just roll Ukraine over. Like, it was just going to be nothing. And when Russia didn't do that, I feel like there was people were like, damn, wait, really? Like, maybe you guys aren't really what you said you were, right? Like, that was it. And Syria, oh yeah, I forgot all about Syria. Yeah, Assad fell in Syria. This was, I think, a year and a half ago, somewhere around there. And so, yeah, absolutely. I forgot all about that. So you should do more on Ukraine updates once a week. Well, I only have so much time, but I maybe I should. I mean, like, I'm a, I've said before, I'm a very big supporter of Ukraine. I don't hate Russia. I'm actually, I think that Russians, religiously at least, like, we have things in common with Russians. Like, Russian Orthodoxy is close to, I think, Roman Catholicism. But like, at the same time, they do have some like, Putin's an asshole. Putin's a jackass. He's a fucking dickhead. And like, I don't know why he's doing this. And I think that the leadership in Russia are assholes. And I don't know why they're doing this at all. So Russia's GDP is less than Texas. Well, I don't know. Ukraine isn't our problem. Ukraine isn't our problem. Russia is our problem. And if we can weaken Russia, so like, think about it like this, right? So you can't think one-dimensionally. You have to think on multiple different vectors. So us helping Ukraine, and not just us, but the EU as well, also helping them, and like other countries also, like Israel helping them, for example. This happening has made Ukraine more resilient, which has caused Russia to send more resources over to Ukraine, which has meant that those resources were not sent to bolster Iran. They were not sent to bolster Venezuela, and they're not going to be sent to bolster Cuba. So really, I think that
he's not wrong in that. He's not wrong in that.
You're right, that Ukraine isn't our problem, but Ukraine is our advantage. It is our advantage on a multi-step level. Does that make sense to you? That's how I'm looking at it, right? No, I'm not saying that there's no other way to look at it. And I see what your point of view is, but I think that, like, in a longer, bigger picture perspective, I'm a big fan of that. I do. And so anyway, what is this here? Same as Israel? In some cases, yes. Anyway, let's keep watching the video. We're getting distracted. So, Moscow is getting bombed.
You know what? I wanted to find out where...
It's insane. Look at that. Do you think Russia will bomb the factories in NATO countries for creating the drones for Ukraine? Like, all my history teachers were like football coaches, and all they wanted to do was teach us about how their father beat the Nazis. So like, I know a lot about World War II, and also my dad grew up that way. So yeah, but let's not get into that. I'm not going to go through and let's not argue too much, okay? Because we're very, very busy today. So let me scroll down and find these other ones. We fucked around and found out. I guess so. So this is Ukraine as well. And I mean, this looks like an oil refinery, right?
Okay, so what he's...
Wow.
Anyway, I'm not going to watch the whole video looking for this. And he gets to the tune of, well, it is Russia's fault. It's not like Ukraine made them invade them or pushed them to invade them. But I actually think that they did a little bit. And the reason that for this once and probably only time I'm disagreeing with Asmongold is I do believe that Ukraine kind of pushed Russia to invade them, and I'll tell you why. It's because of something that Tulsi Gabbard just came out with about the the U.S. funded biolabs, which Russia had brought up in the beginning of the Ukraine war, talking about the U.S. ran biolabs in
Tulsi
Ukraine.
Gabbard, the United States Director of National Intelligence, just dropped a bombshell of a video about secret U.S. government funded biolabs around the world. Take a look.
Now, despite the obvious potential for catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, politicians and so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, as well as entities within the Biden administration's national security team, lied repeatedly to the American people about the existence of U.S.-funded and supported.
Okay, so what? I'm tired of this shit, man. We keep hearing about all these terrible things these politicians have done and all these crimes they've committed and how they've stolen from the American people and how they've done this and that and that. And then next week you see them at some fucking cocktail party. You know, somebody is going to pay for this shit. And I want to know. Let me find. I know that it's in. Pardon my language. Look, I want to be better about my language. Look, I am a devout Christian now, and I've got still got things I need to work on. But yeah, my language is one of them. But look. Okay, and it says in Scripture about in the end times the money will be taken away from the wicked and restored to the righteous. Let's see if that's true. Let me make sure. All right, let's see. Proverbs 13:22, the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. It reflects the belief in ultimate justice where resources are eventually transferred from the unjust to the faithful. Um, is that the only? I thought that it was mentioned more, but let's see exactly what 13:22 is. Proverbs 13:22. Let's see. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Let me go back and type in end times. Let's see. Um, still points to that. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's it. But I'm not the only one that I know. There's been others talk about this. I'll look into that a little bit more. But and I truly believe that. I do believe in an ultimate justice where these people that have committed these crimes and perpetrated these evil things against their own people, I do believe but the time of judgment is coming. And I do believe that those of us in this generation and such, those are still of us that are still here, I think we deserve to witness this. Look at the evils and the degeneracies that have been normalized and thrown upon us in this world. I can't believe, I look back, I'm 43 years old, and I look back and I can't believe how things really were. No, I see them through the lens that I do. And now that I read scripture and I can go and I look at the world and line everything up. And I don't see how other people can't, to be honest with you. But it's insane how we were just forced to accept these degeneracies and how they were forced into our culture. One of the things that I talk repeatedly about is I talk about how the Oxycontin pandemic, the Oxycontin pandemic, and how, because that's what it was. It was the Oxycontin pandemic. Let's see how many American lives that took. Uh, How many Americans have died of opiate overdoses since 2001? Approximately 800,000 to 850,000 Americans have died from opioid overdoses since 2001, based on CDC data. This is a conservative estimate focused on opioid-involved deaths. Almost 1 million people. I think we can say 1 million. I think we can probably say 1 million people that this is taken from us. Now, you call that a pandemic? I do. And there's not a day that you'll ever convince me that our own government did not let this happen. Oxycontin is what ended up bridging the gap from the inner city to the suburbs when it comes to drug use. And it was devastating. I know that it was devastating in my region. In Appalachia, it was an absolute, catastrophe. And I hope that we're on the other side of that now. I think my daughter and my children's generation, they see the damage that it's caused with their parents, grandparents. And I hope to God that we can almost be free of it. But I suppose we never will be, because our healthcare system is a racket, and it's not even like a theory at this point. It's just simply visible. If you have to go to the doctor, if you have any kind of health problems, it will be more than obvious to you that our healthcare system is not set up to heal you. I thank God that I've had two doctors, two good doctors. I had my surgeon, Dr. William Brown. He did my surgery at like 89 years old. I mean, this guy is awesome. He was one of the only guys that actually cares, because you can see doctors just don't care now. And then my pain management doctor, who is an Army veteran and deals with chronic pain himself. He had a shoulder injury. It was apparently pretty serious. Wait, didn't he get his shoulder wounded in combat? My doctor. But yeah, he was combat wounded. Yeah, he got shrapnel or something. I don't remember, but yeah, for real. And he's a really awesome human being, man. I really, really like the guy. But thank God for those, because those are the only two. And let me tell you, I've seen dozens, and those are the only two. But thank God for them, for real. But yeah, Asmongold's really 100% kind of like on Ukraine on this one. And look, man, I really think that they were doing some dirty stuff. Okay. Hey, I think they were messing with some real dangerous stuff in those biolabs in Ukraine. I think Russia had that intel. And look, I watched this from the beginning. I thought immediately, man, 6 months in, they're gonna nuke them. But look, I really have to say, and I don't care, they're gonna call me a Russia bro or whatever, but I think that we wouldn't be here today if Vladimir Putin hadn't showed the restraint that he has, because there were numerous times that I remember that the Russian public and their, Congress, whatever it's called, were calling on him to nuke him, but he held back. So I think because of his patience and whatnot, humanity, I think because there's a video of Putin I like. Let me see if I can find for you guys here. Let's see. Putin factory. Damn. Yeah, this is it. This is great.
Vladimir Putin strode into town.
Почему раньше здесь не было людей, которые способны были принимать решения? Почему здесь-то забегали все как тараканы перед самым моим приездом?
Unlike Medvedev, Putin confronted the factory owners.
Считаю, что вы сделали заложниками своих амбиций, непрофессионализма, а может быть просто и тривиальной жадности. Тысячи людей. Это абсолютно недопустимо. Если собственники договориться между собой не смогут, то единый комплекс все равно будет восстановлен. В том или в другом виде, то это будет сделано без вас.
He demanded the owners, including billionaire Oleg Deripaska, sign an undertaking to restart the factories.
Вы подписали этот договор? Да. Олег Владимирович подписал? Что я не вижу вашей подписи? Идите, пишите. Идите ко мне. Да, договор. Только вторичку мне видите?
Classic Putin.
Classic
But if a
Putin.
country as big as Russia
Oh,
needed a
man.
personal visit from
You know, we've obviously been propagandized here in the U.S. I don't, you know, I definitely see Russia a lot different now than I did, say, as a child when we were watching fucking Hunt for Red October and, what's the one, the Red Dawn where they parachute in, they have the Russian paratroopers come over here but, and let me explain something. I gotta tell you guys something. Look at there. I gotta tell you something. Look. You see this? You see all this, man? Look at this. You see my overlay? You see all this? This is a lot of work, man. Doesn't it look cool? Doesn't it look cool? It looks cool, doesn't it? Come on. But yeah, I like this, man. I'm gonna keep the overlay. We're starting to have. I'm really happy. This was never a thing that I was never making this a goal to do or thought that I would ever do this for a living and get paid, but I always messed around with it. I love to make graphics and stuff like that, and so now, after let's see, 2022, I had my back surgery, and I had rod, screws, and a cage put on my L3. I had 3 vertebrae out of place, but my L3 was at 50% slippage, so it was out pretty good. I was in intense chronic pain. And they put rods, screws, and a cage around my L3. Did a L5 S1 fusion, and fused those two together. And I was supposed to go back 2023 in June, and I went back to have surgery on my neck. When they did the MRI before the surgery, and the surgeon called me and said, look. You've got what we call end stage cervical stenosis, and it's bad enough that if we do the surgery, then I think it was like a 25% chance you're not going to make it through it. So me and my wife were like, no, fuck that, I'll do the best that I can. So I've been disabled out of work since then, but this gives me, I like to feel useful, man. I feel like people need to know these things. And it gives me something to do in a chair. Uh, you know, but yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But yeah, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking about these things. But it's been really cool to see the community grow a little bit. From just like 10 people to 130 people on YouTube, and couple of 260 on X, and it's growing, and that's cool to me, man. And I like to communicate with everybody that leaves comments and everything. I also noticed I wanted to start to get to know the audience a little bit better, so I looked at the demographics. Looks like the majority of our audience is young men. And dude, that's really what I think. That's why I really wanted to start streaming more and even making gaming content, is because I feel like these guys that are out here for young men to look up to are Hassan and Destiny and these cucks. And what's the other one? I don't even know. These fucking losers, man. But, you know, and I mean, I've got a wife, 3 kids. I worked for 25 years before I turned my spine into an Ace Hardware store. So, man, I need to get some more people. It'll be nice to have, uh, you know, a real community. I started the Discord today. I want to try to start filling it up with some interesting stuff, get people involved. So I'll put the Discord in the description of this video. And guys, please like and subscribe, man. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys next time on Monday. And I might be on. We might do some gaming this weekend or tonight, even here in a little bit. But you guys, thanks for stopping by. This has been the Justang Show.